Hi everybody. I'm going to run some switching today since I'm going to be gone all week. The reason why I'm showing this is the JMRI list, and maybe someone can help me out here. So if you look, I usually stage the cars in the order that it says at the top, picking up from the Chillicothe yard. You notice the last two says C&O boxcar yellow and B&O boxcar blue. The problem is they go to the same spur. One goes to Miller Distribution and the other one goes to ITT Grinnell. And if I put them in that order, it's going to cause me some extra moves because they should be in the opposite order. So if someone knows how to, I guess, set spurs in order so JMRI knows that anything at Miller Distribution has to be spotted last, that would help me out. So I'm going to go ahead and switch them because I know the yard crew actually would do that. They wouldn't head down there and then have to do extra switching, tying up the main line. They would stage them this way. So I'm going to put the B&O blue boxcar ahead of the yellow C&O boxcar to save me a couple moves when I get down there. But again, if there's a way I can do that in JMRI, not have to adjust this, I'd appreciate you let me know in the comments. We're going to use my GP7 on this one with sound. I'll try to do a good job blowing for all the crossings, but as you know, I'm constantly crossing Douglas Avenue, and so sometimes if I'm just sitting there 50 feet from it, I'm not going to blow two longs, a short and a long. I'm just going to do a big long until I'm occupying the crossing, and that's what the real railroads would do anyhow. So let me set up the tripod and we'll get started. So here's the train. We have 6 cars. This is the staging yard. So you can see basically I got 5 cars that would be completely hidden by the shelf. This is the inside track, so it's the shorter track. So you know the inside track could probably hold about 8 cars. Of course, one of these cars is a 34-foot tank car or a beer can tank car, however long they are. So my first stop is to switch Union Spring, so I'll move the camera so you can get a better view of what that is. Basically, I'm going to switch out that gondola, full gondola for an empty gondola, and this is one of the gondolas that I modified. So you can see that's a pretty tight radius curve and it doesn't have any problems on it. So you've never seen this angle of my layout before. I couldn't shoot this angle before. So this is, used to be it was heading, well, it still is heading west, but we're coming in to Chillicothe and we're going to switch Union Spring, which is the last industry down there on the left. Alright, we're going to pull the train out of the staging yard, and then we'll stop short of the turnout. So we're uncoupling the gondola, and we'll pull forward to clear the turnout. Throw in the turnout. Now we're going to back into Union Spring to pull the empty car. Just checking to make sure it coupled. So we're pulling the empty, and we'll throw the turnout again, back the car back down onto the train. Again, just making sure it's coupled, and we'll uncouple the full gondola and pull back west again to clear the turnout. I changed the angle here and shoot through the open doors. So we're back in the gondola into Union Spring, the covered unloading dock. You can see the gondola that we just pulled sitting just above the corn. So we spotted the gondola, tied down the brakes. We're pulling back onto the main, flipping the turnout, and we'll back down onto the train and continue west. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch wherever, because that's going to be a trailing point spur. To do that, we are going to have to cross over to the eastbound main. So we'll pull up and we'll uncouple the N&W boxcar is going to go where that Conrail boxcar is right now. We're just switching spot one at wherever. We'll just leave the other 4 cars on the westbound main. Sometimes when you're running the train and video at the same time, sort of make little mistakes. I sort of wish I'd let this car go all the way out of sight before I stopped the video. I think that would have been a little bit more cool of a shot. So I've uncoupled the 2 cars, running through the crossover. And then we'll have to back across Douglas Avenue. I left the train short of the sensor that activates the crossing signal, so it wouldn't be on the whole time. And we're shoving east. And we'll have to stop when we get to the turnout. There we go, throwing the turnout. Now we're going to shove down on and couple to the Conrail car so we can pull it out. Here we go. I was adjusting the camera so you can see what we were doing. In my closing statement for this switching operation, I'll talk about the problems I had with the Conrail car. So we have to put the Conrail car, leave it on the main. Had a little bit of trouble uncoupling here. I don't know if I'm out of practice. It seems like some cars just uncouple harder than others. And we're going to pull back west so we can spot the N&W car at spot 1 or door 1 at wherever. Okay, we've got it in place. Now we're coupled onto the empty gondola, and we'll have to go back and get the Conrail car. And after I coupled them together, I sort of paused a little bit. Crew discussed what they wanted to do with them. And do we want to drag them around for the rest of the switching, or do we want to leave them on the wherever spur to and then pick them up later? Because we're going to have to run around them at some point to take them back to the yard. We eventually decided to just put them back on the spur, wherever spur, and we'd deal with them later instead of dragging them around all over the place. In real life, the Chillicothe Yard crew wouldn't have to make this decision because there's more tracks there than I have. This is like 5 or 6 tracks wide. Just it's the yard now, since the Chillicothe yard by the depot is long gone. It's been gone for over 30 years now. So after we spot those 2 cars, we're just going to run the engine back over and put on the front of the train, and we'll just go eat some lunch. So I'm going to pick up from this point in part 2. Let me tell you the couple of hiccups I had though on this. Did a little bit of switching last night, and this car here on the Miller distribution, well, I had a couple of it just rolled all the way into ITT Grinnell. So I thought, what the heck? So I got my level out, and I knew I was level, this way. What happened was I wasn't level front to back. I had been putting the level on this board, and this board is not level. So to get this board level, basically it meant that this front was way high, and that spur is on an angle. If I put it up here on this building now the layout's level. So I shouldn't have put the level on this thing. But when I was fighting with that, trying to put shims up underneath it and get it all level, all of a sudden something popped, and I think it was where I had the backdrop nailed up here, because I noticed those nails have popped out, and the whole thing shook. It was like a giant earthquake. I mean, all my cars were on their sides. Nothing hit the ground because nothing is close to the edge. Put everything back on, set all the vehicles back up, got everything ready to go. Thought it was good for today. When I started coming out of the staging yard today, man, this track right here was way off. It had moved this, and so I had to fix that before I could run the staging yard again. And then this Conrail boxcar, which I've had forever, never had an ounce of problems out of it. When I pulled it, it derailed and derailed again, and finally I pulled it off, and it, I don't know what brand it is. It's an Atlas. It's not a micro change, but the floor had gone up inside it. So of course that meant the couplers were dragging on the ends. It wouldn't swivel right. So I had to pull it off and put it back together and super glue it, and it seems to be okay now. But I really had some adventures. I had a couple derailments in here. So again, I will pick up with this. I'll do the rest of the switching today, and I will film it, put the video together, and maybe post it tomorrow or Monday or something like that, since I'm going to be in a hotel working on stuff. I did get the track today to connect the extensions. or the two pieces of the layout. So now I can start working on that when I get home. What I'm planning on doing while I'm gone in the hotel is I'm going to take all my gondolas with me. I've got 3 bulkhead flats. I'm going to take those, and I'm going to do those coupler. I'm going to put the rubber band in the coupler to keep the, from the bobbing. I'm going to try to do that. I also intend to try to start working on the brickyard and my yard office while I'm there too. So I'm just taking a little box to stay busy with. But I'll take about, I guess, maybe 15 freight cars with me and do that coupler conversion while I'm gone, because I'm pretty happy with that. Basically, all I will have left when I'm done are all my box cars, which is the bulk of my fleet, and I'll have those 70-ton hoppers, which I got a ton of those for Oak Hill. But at least this will knock out a big part of it. So everybody stay safe, and I'll post another video in a couple days for the finish of this switching.